Okay, we're recording. Hi, I'm Rick DiClemente with starself.com, and this is Astrology Unplugged. Welcome you all that are watching. Welcome you all that are tuning in via YouTube. Tonight's show 189. Hi, Linda. And we're going to get with it here. Tonight we'll do some things a little different. First of all, I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me recently, and I think it'll be of interest to you because when you're an astrologer, you see this all the time, and when you're not an astrologer, you get used to living your life without the planets informing you. In other words, about 10 days ago, I came down with a really bad infection in my left eye.
Oh, wow.
Not like me. Let me get all these buttons straight here. Okay, here we go. Anyhow, and it went on for a couple of days, It's not like me at all. Then I realized what's wrong with me. It's got to be the moon. This is one of the only things in astrology that's opposite men and women. The moon on a man is his moon. The moon on a man is his left eye. The right eye on a man is his sun. It's reversed for women. For women, the right eye is the moon, the left eye is the sun. And I looked up and there it was. The sun was shining exactly opposite my moon. And the sun can be a trigger. Mars is the usual trigger. The sun can also be a trigger. Not as violent usually. And the moon can also trigger the sun, the moon, and Mars. So I looked and there was the sun bearing down right on my moon, exactly opposite, moving kind of slowly. It took about 4 or 5 days. I got some medicine, some drops, and it went away after about 7 days. But just to show you, you can use medical astrology in a lot of ways. And I'm going to caution you, if you're going to use medical astrology, you got to be very careful because a lot of people are out there trying to sound confident. Okay? And don't let them scare you. You're at a real disadvantage. Matter of fact, my left eye is acting up again. You're at a real disadvantage when the astrologer says, oh, that's your neck. Oh, that's your throat. Oh, that's your knee. Well, a lot of the times they're right, and a lot of times they're wrong. So be very wary if especially if somebody puts a curse on you. But in my case, I did know. I validated it was my left eye. And if it had been a woman, it would have been my right eye. I know of no other case in the body where it switches like that. I don't know of any other case. I know a good deal about medical astrology, but I will not give medical advice. I won't tell people when to get operated on. I'm not going there. It's very dangerous. It's between you and your spirit guide, your Lord, your God, whatever. So it's just not a good thing to do. Anyhow, the next thing I have an apology for you is something I missed last week. I was showing you the inauguration chart, and I missed something I can't believe it's right in front of me. I'll show it to you. Here's last week's chart. The inauguration coming up of somebody, maybe. Maybe somebody will get inaugurated. The way this clown operates, who knows? But anyhow, I was showing you, and I was pretty high on the fact I fell into the trap. I was pretty high on seeing what I wanted to see. And there I was pretty high on seeing 4 Aquarius planets in that 10th house. And we do have a birth time because it is noon on January 20th. But what I failed to see, well, I did see that Pluto was close. Pluto is about a degree, 10, almost a degree, less than a degree and a half from the midheavens. That's very powerful. But what I didn't see was Eris. Eris 23 and a half, and the midheavens 26 and a quarter. So when a planet squares that angle, when a planet squares the ascendant, when a planet squares the midheaven axis. So you've got big trouble in this chart. You got Eris and Pluto at the same time. Now, There's a lot of good things in this with all the Aquarius, but what it's here to show us is the country is divided. And it ain't going to be pretty with Pluto and Eris there. Here's the reason why. When Eris, I don't have time to read these messages I'm seeing. When Eris is activated like she is now, Eris has a good side to her, which is I'm unheard of, make me heard from. I'm discounted, make me be counted. I'm always counted out, make me be counted. I'm always having injustice, give me justice. The problem is, I'm going to call it half and half. Half the country has valid reasons to feel that they've been unincluded. They've been treated unjustly. And another half the country is whining about it, and they really haven't been. And so I think no matter which side wins, I mean, we've even got people taking sides on whether to wear a mask or not, which is ridiculous because it's for the benefit of all of us. But there are plenty of people that are identifying with this poor me Venus-Saturn president we have, and they're going into the, oh, I've been mistreated too, I've been mistreated too. This is very dangerous. I think he's going to call on a civil war. I think he's going to get one of some type. I don't know what type. I don't know if it's the National Guard will be involved. I don't know. It's with this clown. Who knows what's going to happen? But this chart shows it. And when it's an inauguration, this means it's going to be true for 4 years. So we got the 4 nice Aquarian planets at the top, but I failed to see how strong the Eris square the midheaven with Pluto on it. And what that means is we're going to change our ways and we're going to move forward. And a lot of people are going to say good, and a lot of people are going to say bad because they want to go back to the way it was. They got these illusions that we're going back to the 50s and Ozzy and Harriet and everything's going to be fine. Okay, we're not going to get into that because I got plenty of weeks to get into that kind of junk. All right, we'll get started right with the list because you saw me in the last couple of weeks. I've been showing you how themes in a chart are really important. I'm not going to read the chart completely. I want to try to get to all 7 people on my list. But I'm going to show you how you can find themes in a chart. And it doesn't even have to be a square or an opposition, just the theme itself. And the way you find a theme is you work with a pencil, Linda. Your pencil. You find a theme, you keep going around, you see this, you see this, you see that, you keep repeating the theme. Boy, that theme keeps coming up. Then you start to see what the major themes are. Plus, you start to see what the sun sign is, and you can see right away what the natural themes are in the chart. Okay, let's go right to the first chart on the list, which is the chart of Margaret. Okay. Margaret, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Here's Margaret's chart. Now, right away, we see 3 planets in Leo. So we know that's one of the themes. Okay, when you got the Leo-Virgo theme, that's a very popular theme in astrology because they're really not next door good friends. Most people don't get along real well with the signs next door. The sign next door has a different element and it has a different quality. And that's one of the main reasons. And the sign next door, you've either just come out of or you're going into. So that's one of the reasons. Now, you got a Virgo with 2 planets in Virgo. Sense of service augmented by the fact that it's in the 12th house. Another Piscean house, which is a sense of service. You've got Saturn, Neptune, and all the people born in the mid-50s had that, in the early 50s. Okay, you have Eris over here by herself. She's very strong. This is recent because she's on one of the angles. So when you're Arisian, that really blows a hole in all the Virgo because Virgo is all about restraint, keep your mouth shut, don't criticize, be humble, and Eris could give a darn. That's not Eris. Eris says, if it ain't fair, I'm saying something. I'm doing something. And she's pretty loud about it, and she can be very violent. So she's quite different than this Virgo theme here. Now, another thing we see Uranus opposite Chiron, and everybody, as I've told you many times, everybody born from 52 to 89, 1952 to 89, for those 37 years, everybody was born with Uranus opposite Eris. They just happened to travel opposite each other during those 37 years. And they're the symbol of an astrologer. They're the symbol of alternative healing. So it's one reason you see it so much. And after 89, it broke up. But at the base of that T-square, we find Uranus and we find Uranus and Chiron, and they make a T-square over to Saturn, Neptune. Okay? And mainly the Neptune. Okay. So the main themes in this chart for Margaret, she's got the Virgo going on, she's got the Leo going on, she's got the Eris going on, and she's got a moon in Scorpio. Even though that moon is inches away from going into Sagittarius. That's a moon in Scorpio. So you've got Leo. This is not uncommon at all to have about 5 themes. You've got Leo, you've got Scorpio, you've got Eris, you've got Virgo. The Libra rising is getting overwhelmed. The Libra rising is getting totally overwhelmed by these other planets. So what do we say? All right, when we talk with Margaret, the Virgo energy is very straightforward. I want to do a good job. I want to keep my mouth shut. I want to be known as a good worker. I want to be clean and neat and be seen as upstanding, a good worker. Especially, they want to be known as a good worker. And they're usually really good at what they do. Now, the Leo planets want to be known for what they do. The Virgo doesn't. But the Leo does, but the Virgo doesn't. See how I drive you crazy going like that? That's what the planets do. So you got 3 planets in Leo. Leo what? So bring that reporter in here. Yeah, bring that reporter in. Let's hear about it. Talk about all my accomplishments. Makes a Virgo sick. Virgos can't stand that stuff. The Leos need it. Virgo doesn't like it. We've seen this before in this room. Clearly, to me, that's the main construct argument going on in the chart. But you have to analyze to yourself, why is the Virgo has just come through the sign of Leo and they've become Virgo? Why is the Virgo all about keeping its mouth shut, being humble, let my work speak for itself? And why does Leo feel the opposite? First of all, let's talk to Margaret and see if, in fact, that you find this to be somewhat of an argument within you.
I think so. I was brought up Scandinavian, and with some of the things that go with Scandinavian, especially Norwegian, mother, is you don't toot your own horn, and you're not loud, and you don't tell people or act as if you've accomplished anything.
All right, let me say a couple things right away. This has nothing to do with your mother or Norwegian or North European. This is all Leonine versus Virgo.
Okay.
Because I'll guarantee you, if you had mainly the Virgo energy without the Leo, you wouldn't have a problem. But let's follow through on this. Leo is very misunderstood. Leo is not about bragging. I want to have the light on me. It can become that. It can become sickening, yes. But the Leo sign needs attention to grow with confidence. That's what the zodiac needs, because the zodiac just got through the sign of Cancer. Confidence is low because Cancer is a tough sign to be. And Leo takes over and says, well, I need to boost my confidence So the best way is to be on stage. Look at what I can do. Look what I did. See? And it needs that. But you can go too far with it. So when people were advising you to stay Virgoan, what people do is they push the Virgos towards becoming robots. Look around you, and there are a lot of Virgo people that are robotic. Nice people, but they're very robotic when it comes to expressing what they feel. They're expressing what they think they should feel, but not what they feel. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So what do you do with this Leo, with these two scales? You got Leo on one half and you got Virgo on the other. How do you handle it?
Oh, well, learning that it's okay to think that you deserve credit for something.
Well, you certainly do deserve credit for it. But you see, here's the real dichotomy here. Virgos and Capricorns. Virgos and Capricorns are the worst in the zodiac when it comes to accepting compliments. They're so bad at it because they don't feel they deserve it that people stop complimenting them. They just say, okay, I won't bug you with it. Virgo is very humble and they do good work. And you see, Virgo is to be admired because it has transcended that need to get that recognition. But yet the Leo parts are there. You got 3 planets together. What are they, Venus? Pluto. Pluto in between Venus and Mars. Okay, you think that something's going to listen to your Pluto, Venus, Mars? That's powerful. In the midpoint structure, that is written in astrology. Pluto equals Venus / Mars. Because the Venus Mars has a midpoint and Pluto is sitting right on that midpoint. The Venus Mars part of you is pizzazz, it's charisma, it's sexual, it's got charisma. When Pluto's on it, it's got real charisma. And there's the Virgo over there saying, no, you could do it. You can't do it because they're both a part of you. Now, God bless your mom and dad, but your mom and dad don't have your chart. And my dear, when you go on stage and you're sitting in the corner and you want to show the neat little wooden airplane that you made for somebody, and you want to do it quietly in the corner, the Venus, Mars, and Pluto over in the corner going, hey, you're not going to go on stage by yourself. You get all 4 of those planets at once, or you get none of them. So not only is it okay, how many people have seen, you all know what I'm talking about. We've seen people brag and go, wow, look what I did. And it's really wonderful and it's amazing. Versus, hey, look what I did. You can sense it. One's a greedy and one's not. And when you struggle with it, then the Venus, Mars, Pluto comes out the wrong sound. You won't get the reaction you want, and you will get the feared criticism that you're calling for. You will get it. Do you get criticized a lot by people?
No.
Okay. Do you make sure that you don't?
Well, I'm retired, so there's not a lot of people around to criticize me. But when I worked,
in your
I
whole
try. Of course, I try to do
in your whole life.
Sure, I worked really hard to have things level and even.
Okay. What did you do to satisfy your Leo planets?
Probably not a whole lot.
Okay. Now, what I'm telling you, I'm not going to even look at it now. In your past life chart, we're seeing some kind of rule there that many of us have. To boast about ourselves is wrong. And it's not wrong. It's not wrong. Say, look, I got my black belt. And we all applaud. Okay? Okay. So the answer to your chart is not easy. It's to allow the Leo to speak and allow the Virgo to speak. And you got a moon in Scorpio. So you're passionate. You're keeping down a lot of force. You're pushing down a lot of volcanic activity that wants out. And if you let it out without fearing, if you just let it out, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. The key is you can't fear it as you're doing it. Before you do it, you start to fear criticism. You can't let that in. No. Just be yourself, express yourself, because if you're out of bounds, somebody will put you in your place. But it's not Scandinavian, it's Plutonian. Okay?
Okay.
Good luck to you. Let me move on to the next person. You are welcome. Thank you. I'm going to move to the next person, who is Maureen. It's amazing to see in a chart how the themes manifest. That's why I'm going to brag. I busted my butt writing this book. This is a great book. I'm real proud of it. This book should be read. Then you understand why a Leo and a Virgo have competitive thoughts. I'm not an egomaniac, but I'm proud of the book. All right. In that book, and I really recommend it, you understand why one sign can go so far and it runs into its limit and it has to give it up and transfigure itself into the next sign. That's critical. The critical lessons are in this book about the 12 stages of one becoming the other, becoming the other. And I don't know about you, I looked all over and I have not seen it done anywhere else. Okay, let's go to Maureen. Now, we see Pluto right on the angle. See where my eyes go right away? We see a Capricorn. 1945. So when I know automatically 1945 has this wonderful triplicity. The people born at the end of the war have this wonderful Jupiter, Chiron, Neptune, Van Morrison, Neil Young, Stephen Stills. I mean, it's a wonderful pairing of three planets into what's called a stellium. This is ultra charm, lots of charm. And you got a moon and Leo to match. Moon and Leo is very charming. Now, is the Capricorn going to let it out? Good sign. We only got one planet in Capricorn. These two Sag planets, what do you think they say? Well, hell yeah, let it out. Let it out. Okay? But look what the sun's opposite. Saturn in Cancer. Oh, so your chart's very simple. Your sun is opposite Saturn in Cancer. Is that Maureen I'm looking at? I need, is that Maureen?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Maureen, when you have a Capricorn sun and a Saturn opposition, let alone Saturn and Cancer, what you've got is, don't say it because something's going to go wrong. Shh. Shh. Don't say it. You know, the other planets are like, wow, let it out, let it out, let it out. Now, this is almost a guarantee to me that one of your parents was repressive. They didn't let their light shine. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. That would have been bad. Yeah.
Okay. Now, as you went through your childhood, what signs were your parents?
Taurus and a Sag.
Okay, was a Taurus the father?
Mother.
Okay. Was she freedom loving or was she kind of stuffing?
No. She was freedom loving, but she was bullheaded.
Oh yeah, Taurus is our boy, yeah. Did they encourage you to express yourself or not?
Back then, I guess, but not really. You know, you didn't do that back then.
I'm getting both answers. I'm getting both yes. I'm getting yes and no.
No.
You didn't do that back then. Is not an answer. It's
No, I know.
It is a Capricorn. It's a Capricorn default. If I play by the rules, I'll be okay.
Right.
Okay. And now, how much have you suffered because you have not expressed yourself?
Oh, yeah. A lot.
And as you've gotten older, and the books will tell you this, in case you haven't read a lot of books, Capricorns get younger as they grow older.
Right. That's great.
And you have been holding back a lot for whatever reason. I don't care. I don't sit in judgment.
Right.
But you've been holding back because you've been careful.
That's
What
right.
have we learned by the science of astrology? That when you're careful, you destroy your flow. And when you have flow is when you win. And when you don't have flow is when you lose. You can't carefully step across the squares on a chessboard. You can't do it. Your game has to have flow to it. We see your chart, you see two people in a row have a lot of fire. They have a lot of expression that they want, but they got all these reasons that they can't do it. I'm here to tell you, there aren't any reasons. You had to put up with junk when you were little? Yeah. You don't want to become a loudmouth? Yeah. Your chart's all about letting go now. Letting go. Okay? And the Eris, is that where we saw the Eris was strong? Or was that the other chart? Who had the strong Eris? The first chart or the last one?
First one.
Okay, Margaret's chart. Eris is really strong, Margaret. Say what you gotta say because you're not out to hurt anybody. And Virgos would rather die than hurt somebody. But you're not going to hurt somebody because it's not your nature. Maureen's chart, Maureen, whatever happened to you growing up through past lives and all, you've been taught that you got to be really careful or you're going to sink and you're going to float to the bottom. And when you got that Saturn in Cancer, it can be really strong. I've seen so many people with it. And there's almost nothing you could say to them. They have to outgrow it on their own because they have this sense. Look at him, he's trying to get me out. He's trying to get me out in the middle of the pool. And if I go out in the middle of the pool, I'm going to sink. I'm going to sink. I don't care what he says, I'm going to sink. It ain't true. It ain't true. It's far from truth. But that's how they feel. And that's what's critical. Now, would you say that you're starting to come out into the middle of the pool more, Maureen?
Oh, yeah, really.
Good, wonderful. And when you've been doing this and expressing yourself more, you're going to start noticing your body's going to feel better. You're going to make more money. You're going to have people around you that are more cheerful. You're going to feel better. Has that been true?
True.
Okay. What bad things, tumultuous things, have happened to you since you've come out?
Nothing.
Nothing. Let's hear it from Maureen. That's it. Exactly. Exactly.
No.
I don't have to tell you anything. I don't have to go anywhere else in your chart. Saturn and Cancer people are taught, even if it's nonverbal, shh, because if you don't, you're going to sink. And what I mean by sinking is one word.
True.
Be abandoned. That's Cancer. You're going to be abandoned. You start popping off, you're going to be abandoned. It's an irrational fear, and that's why the moon is the right side of the brain. It's irrational. But you're learning, thank God, as you get older, that it is irrational and that you can bypass it. Good for you, Maureen. Thank you very much, and you're right on track.
Good.
Keep it up. I'm going to take a drink of water. We're going to go on next to Ray. We're going to get a similar theme in Ray's chart. We've done Ray's chart many times. And
yes, we have another Cancer, another Saturn in Cancer.
Yeah, we see Saturn in Cancer. We see that's very strong. because it's rising. Cancer is rising. It's a bucket pattern to that. And we're talking about Aquarian. Now I'm going to stop and repeat this. Venus and Mercury, 3 planets here. I don't know what it is, but in the last 5 years, it's probably archetypal. I've seen a lot of cases where we're mixing Aquarius energy with Cancer. I see people getting married with it. I see people trying to mix it. I see people having a lot of trouble. Why? Aquarian energy is, I'm free. I'm going to go do my thing. I'm going to travel. I don't need anybody's okay. Notice this. I'm not obnoxious about it. I don't need anybody's okay. I just don't need anybody's okay.
Exactly.
It's not obnoxious. They want to just be free and travel. Cancer energy is totally different. I want to be home where it's safe. I love my family. Want to get those nice smells in the kitchen. Want to get that cinnamon smell in the kitchen. Maybe fry some bacon in the morning. Everybody's got cushions and blankets, and we're all cozy. 2 completely different themes. And I see people with that in their charts. And there's no reason that you can't satisfy both themes in your chart. When you're at home, be at home. When you're out, be out.
Yep.
Because you see, in astrology, this thing about the home and cushions and the couch and the family and the structure and the fireplace, that's all a metaphor. It's a metaphor for being secure in your own self. So there are a lot of people climbing mountains, flying planes that are very much at peace with themselves. That's a healthy moon. That's healthy Cancer. You don't have to stay at home to acquire that. Okay. Now, we don't know what it is because I've done race chart many times. It's a past life issue. Why is that Saturn in Cancer so strong when the Aquarius is so strong? Let's go back and look at the rest of the chart. Okay, you got the very nice Jupiter and Pisces, wonderful symbol. Jupiter and Pisces, loving to people throughout the world, near the midheaven. The moon is very strong in Cancer. Pluto is opposite Eris, so the T-squared to Saturn. Okay, what I think that means, since that's archetypal, that's the collective. Ray, I know you disappeared. There you are. Ray, what I think in your chart is your caution is not a personal caution. It's not mom and dad gave it to you, the church taught it to you. No, yours is collective caution. So in other words, you probably lived through Holocaust or some very tough situation where you learned to keep your mouth shut and be careful. But I don't think it's personal because the personal planets aren't involved. Where you've learned, oh, I got all beat up because I said this. So I think it's more of the collective. So I think what we're going through now in this lifetime now, especially with Eris coming out, and believe it, it's Eris now. That's what's happening. You're learning the power of the collective. And I think you're going to become less and less keeping yourself in and more taking yourself out. And you're going to feel fine because you're going to be picked up and you're going to be chosen by the collective to speak for it. I think that's happening in your chart. You're being chosen by the collective to speak up for women, because that's the main thing about Eris, is she is the divine feminine arising again. Does that make sense to you?
Also with Mercury and Venus conjunct.
In Aquarius?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Aquarian energy is so fantastic. I mean, if you get it too distorted, it gets quirky. But it's just a wonderful energy because it's so idealistic. And it wants what's better for everybody. But I think if you look at me and you, we go back about 8 years now, I think, working on this Saturn and Cancer of yours. And I think that's the theme, and I think that's the breakthrough tonight, is that it's a collective issue. And when you talk about the collective, and you talk about karma, there's no way you can evaluate it. Some people, the karma requires a lot out of them. Some people, karma requires very little of them. Some people, the collective requires a whole lot. It's on their back all the time. Other people, the opposite. I don't understand that part. I think that's beyond traditional Western astrology. But what we're seeing here is, I think you're shedding that Saturn in Cancer, and you're looking. What that would mean to me, you're going to have a real affinity to people in the collective who have suffered because of Saturn and Cancer types of energy. You're going to be real pro women who have been pushed down. You're going to be real pro families who have been pushed down. You're going to be real pro families who have been poor and repressed. You're going to have a real sensitivity to that. And Aquarian fire can be very impressive. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay. Well, I think that's the real big issue tonight. It's not a personal matter. It's more of a collective thing.
Okay.
I think that's really good.
Well, thank you.
Yay. We got all kind of applause tonight. Okay. Amy. Amy's another Cancer. So we're doing all kinds of, where did Amy go? She went somewhere, but I'll keep talking as if she's here.
I'm here, Rick.
She's here. She's here. She's out west somewhere. Okay, let's take a look at Amy. Now, here's Amy's chart. Sun is in Cancer. Moon is 8 degrees from Uranus, so that's good. We don't want it too close. Moon is 8 degrees away, and that's pretty comfortable. If it was 1 degree away or 0 or 2, Saturn opposite Neptune. This theme I've seen many times recently. This theme is the theme from past lives. I believe in, look at Jupiter, Neptune. Wonderful spiritual qualities. Beautiful. I don't believe it. Yes, I do. I don't believe nothing till I see it. Yes, I do. I believe it. Oh, boy, I can feel it. You don't feel nothing. You didn't see nothing. So this is a real battle here. This is a battle between believing and not believing, having faith and not having faith. I see this all the time because when you have faith, you've got a whole nother battle to win. When you finally get done beating the non-faith and you say you do believe, then you got a whole new battle because then you're on your own with your own karma. Scary stuff. That's what the main issue is in this chart. Here's the answer. Ready, aim, fire. Cancer, ready, aim, do something else. Don't fire. Ready, aim, do something else, don't fire. Because if you fire, you're in trouble. Your chart is about, I've got the faith. It's leading me to see what I see, and I'm going to go forward with what I see. Okay? Because the problem comes with the Neptune opposite Saturn is you're ready, aim, stop, do something else, because when you start to aim, you start to see what trouble you got to get into. So you don't fire. But then you get a whole new host of problems. So it's got to be now, ready, aim, fire, then deal with it. Ready, aim, fire, then deal with it. That's what it has to turn into. Amy?
Yes.
Phew.
Ready, aim, fire, just do it, deal with the consequences later.
What happens is, you see, it's the nature of Cancer to be cautious. Cancer is about taking care of moi. So we have to have one sign in the zodiac that's take care of me, and that's Cancer. So that's why they interrupt after the aim part. Ready, aim, hold back. Ready, aim, fire, then deal with it. And I tell you what, if you study astrology like I study it, Cancer is a tenacious sign. There are a lot of James Cagney cancers out there. Tough people. Really. Who do you think's number one in business? Divide the males and females. 24 different pairs. 24 different pairings. Male and female, every sign of the zodiac. Who do you think's the most intimidating, successful
Cancers.
Cancer women?
I've been told I've been intimidating so many times. It's not funny.
Cancer women are tenacious and they're really good business women. And I know Nita's listening.
Yeah, I'm actually laughing.
Well, the reason why is cancers care. And you can use that word in a frivolous, glib way. But when you look at the zodiac, there are 2 signs that care. Well, maybe 3. You gotta be careful how you use it. But Cancers and Virgos, they really care. Cancers get a lot of repeat business because they treat their clients like family. And that's what we want to go back to. I liked the shopping there, 5% more, but I don't care. They treated me like family. So let's get back. Amy, what do you think about what I've said about your chart?
Oh, I think it's pretty spot on.
Speak up for me, please.
I think it's pretty spot on, especially when you talked about the faith and then not faith, and then when you stop, like you cause a whole new set of problems, or you go, oh, there's going to be a whole new set of problems there. So it's kind of like what sometimes as I get older, it's not so much what's the path of least resistance. It's like what's going to get me where I need to go, and just
that's exactly right. Yes.
Go and do it anyway, and forget the rest of the world. Not the verbiage I would probably use if I was.
Well, you see, I think a lot of the Cancer fears are warranted when you're little.
Yes.
I mean, where are you going to go without your parents? You're going to do whatever they say. You're lost. And I think Cancers grow out of it. But there are 2 issues here. All right? 1, you're going to let all that Saturn opposite Jupiter, Neptune's all that faith, really great faith. And Saturn, oh, I doubt it. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything. Are you going to let it win? Okay. Are you tired of it winning and now you're going to win? Okay. You've defeated part 1.
Right.
Part 2. Now you've defeated part 1. Now what?
Now comes the chaos and
well, now comes the imagined chaos.
Yeah, yes, the fun
the
part.
Imagined chaos.
Yes.
I have clients where I talk to, I'm blue, purple, and violet. And that whenever I get blue, purple, and violet, that means their moon is too strong and I'm wasting my breath because I'm talking to the moon. You cannot talk to the moon because the moon doesn't want to hear words. The moon wants you to get in there and settle it for him and take care of me. It'll be all right. But as you grow older and see how tough you are, you don't need that kind of treatment. And when you look around yourself, what do you see? You see all kind of people that don't know how to nurture, do they?
No, they don't. And then here I am just standing and I'm like, I'm still swimming and everybody else is either playing the victim card or whatever. And
yeah.
I'm thriving in my own way. I'm not thriving as much as I'd want to yet, but still going towards that.
Yeah, but you're gonna start winning big time. And
I'm ready.
It's because all those planets in Capricorn are opposite Cancer. They're feeding all their strength to you. And like I say to you, one of the things to remember, look around you and you'll see tons of people that cannot nurture. Mm-hmm. Look at yourself and appreciate what a darn good nurturer you are. Okay? Now, the second thing, can I put up our chart again? Certainly. YouTubers, I'm seeing messages between us people present, and they asked to see the chart again. So you see that this fight here going on is really big, and this T-square is very intriguing here. You've got 2 planets here, opposite 2 planets, T-square to these 2. So when you got the T-square to the sun in Cancer, into Mercury in Cancer. And you got Mars rising. Or you got Mars on the descendant anyway. There's a lot of strength in this chart. And I think this old Saturn-Neptune theme is getting very old. And see, it's 1 degree 0. So it's very strong, 1 degree to 0. Let's take a look at the past life. Or the spiritual transcript, as I call it. Okay, we'll see where this came from, Amy.
I would be ecstatic to know.
I'm sorry?
I said I'd be really ecstatic to know.
Okay, look at this past life history. Sun next to Uranus. So you were a wild man or wild woman. You were very intense, way ahead of your time. These two planets are all by themselves. You're out there leading the group. Okay, you got Leo rising, Jupiter, Pluto right on the angles. You were very intense. Moon's in Scorpio. So where did all this fear come in? Where did all this fear get brought in? You got two should planets here. Should Virgo, should Virgo. Saturn's up here in the 8th house. Maybe Pluto got you into trouble. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't even care what it is now. It's real clear to me that you're going through the turning point because we're all going through it. Now, I want to tell you something good here. While we're all going through this election chart, this inauguration chart, this current era square Pluto, do not be deceived when planets square themselves. It's not just scary time. It's power is here time. Tell me you don't feel it and look around.
Oh, yeah.
You don't feel inside like I'm not going to F around anymore. Everybody you know is going to be feeling this. I'm not going to F around anymore. And there are different ways to interpret that. You feeling it, Amy?
Oh, totally. Yes.
Good. Linda? Yep. Marcia? Yep. Margaret? You feeling it? John?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I'm trying to teach charts and also keep you attentive to what the collective's doing. Because we're going into the collective and we're seeing the exact flip-flop shadow side with Trump. We're just seeing, oh, the things he's doing are just the awful side of Eris. We're going to come out of this in a couple of years, and it may be 3 or 4. We're going to come out of this a lot stronger because of all the crap we had to put up with. Let me move on. Thank you very much so far. Very good stuff. Very good. See how the night has its own theme?
Thank you, Ray.
He has its own theme, but Eris criminal. The criminal part to Eris is, yeah, she's criminal. She will bust down whatever door she has to and light fires and all that because of the dark side. Her dark side is, I've been treated unfairly. I'm going to do anything I want. When she's not really looking at, is it really unfair how you've been treated? Is that really true? And in most of these criminal actions, it's not true. Yeah, Black Lives Matter, but we don't want them burning down buildings. Neither do they. I'm not going to get into that story. Let's go back here and move on to Claudia. Claudia Leo. Here's Claudia's chart. Okay, very nice Jupiter, Moon in Pisces. Sun in Leo. Too far from the 4th house, 6 degrees away, so it's definitely a 3rd house. It's not really affecting the 4th house. If it were within 5 degrees, I would say 4th house. Look at the Saturn, Venus in Cancer. Look at the Saturn, Venus in Cancer. Oh, I better be careful. If I'm going to go out on a date, I better be careful. You make sure he treats me right. I'm sensitive. Look at this. I'm a lady and I'm sensitive. And boy, I'm really Neptunian. I don't want any conflict. I don't want any confrontations. Mars is in Virgo. Mars at 5, Moon's at 5. This is what caused my eye infection. Except it was 6 degrees.
Yeah.
Mars opposite the Moon. This helps. Mars opposite the Moon at T-squared and Neptune. This means that sometimes you feel irritated, and by God, your sun lights up because Leo's all about dignity, and you can't do that to me, and you start to take an action, then your Neptune takes over. You can't take an action. Shh. That's not ladylike. Shh. And you're from, not Panama, but
El Salvador.
El Salvador. I knew I was close.
Mhm.
Ladies don't act like that. Claudia? Shh. What happened? What happened in El Salvador? What age did you leave there?
7. So
But
I've grown up here.
Yeah. Okay. Even so, you're an El Salvadorian family. What happens when you start to speak out or get kind of aggressive? What happens to you?
I instantly moderate. I instantly censor myself, even though
Okay.
I'm getting to the point where I'm not allowing myself to censor myself.
All right.
So I can't do it anymore.
We're seeing the whole group.
I know.
We're changing the name of this show now. From
I
now
know.
on, it's going to be, to hell with it, Astrology Unplugged.
Yeah.
Didn't bend it like that.
Yeah. No, it's an internal alchemy going on.
Okay, now here's a story, and I can't say this clearly enough. I've been in this 42 years, and I've watched a lot of spiritual people, okay? And I've seen the nicest people. But most spiritual people have this nonverbal that they got to be Christ-like at all times. No explosions, no emotion. And they translate it into self-repression.
Hmm.
I remember sitting in the church with the Latin mass going on. Oh, my God, it's so overpowering, the Latin. You're sitting there and all you can do is think about how bad you are. All the things you did wrong. Thank God that's fading.
Yeah.
Because we're getting a more proper perspective on our own holiness. You're a good woman. You're a good woman. And sometimes when somebody steps on your toe, you got to say, ouch, get off my toe.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, that's part of my, yeah. That's
Your
part of my
chart,
thing that I
your
need.
chart is very simple. It's very simple. It's all the Neptunian kindness versus the Leo fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in the Bible somewhere Jesus upsetting the tables and getting angry. But see, we got these rules in us and all
Oh,
this
Yeah.
penance and all this, right? Now, what really happens, Claudia, when you speak out?
What really happens is I feel like, God, I feel so unloaded and relieved and
Yeah.
clean, and it's just normal. In fact, yeah, it's just a normal. I can't edit everything I say, which is the irony is that, you know, because of what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, the chart that I've been given.
Oh, yeah,
But-
everybody's is. Sure.
You gotta laugh.
Editing yourself is a sin. Because what are you telling God when you edit yourself? What are you telling God or Goddess when you edit yourself?
Kind of denying.
This thing that
Denying.
you created is imperfect.
Yeah.
It's not imperfect.
Hmm.
You couldn't hurt somebody if somebody was hitting your toe with a hammer. It's not your nature. You see how we all have such trouble?
No,
Getting it out of our systems?
yeah, yeah. It's
Boy, this must be in the planets tonight, huh?
I know. It's
Well, let's
just,
go take a look at where the planets are. I used to do a really neat thing when I taught astrology in the same room with my students. I would project on the wall the clock. There's a mode in this software where you can put the clock up and you can watch the whole zodiac turn every couple of minutes, and you'll notice when the rising sign changes, the subject changes.
that's so
It's wonderful to watch because we're
Yeah.
not used to being that married to it. Take a look right now. Here's the clock. Let me get it back on your screen. This is where the planets are exactly at this moment. Okay. So as we speak, these 3 planets will keep rising. These 3 will rise over the midheaven. We've come into Capricorn in the last 30 minutes or so. Okay, the moon has gone into Aries, 2 hours, 1 degree. Let me see if that's right. Every 2 hours, 1 degree. So the moon went into Aries 4 hours ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The moon is approaching Chiron. Here comes Eris. Keep watching. Eris, Pluto. Eris, Pluto. Look at the T-square. Everything's pointing to Eris and Mars.
Yeah.
Eris and Mars. So that's why we're getting that theme tonight. The Venus is in Cancer. You see, astrologically, I learned a lot by studying the life of Helen Keller. Cancer, moon in Pisces,
Oh,
blind, deaf.
yeah.
She said there is no such thing as safety. We got this myth that if we walk real carefully, that we're going to be okay. She says, no, get in the boat. She's got a fiery chart, actually. Get in the boat, go downstream. That's what we see with every case tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Rick.
What's the name of the new show?
To hell with it. Astrology Unplugged.
Astrology Unplugged dash to hell with it. It's wonderful. Hey, aren't you the host of that show, to hell with it? Yeah, that's my brother. I don't know. Okay, let's get to Erica. Erica, hello. Let's get you up on the screen. Now, Erica is so easy to work with because one theme is so clear. The Neptune theme is so strong. Got the strong Leo, got the strong Neptune, got the strong Aries. I'm not going to even get anything else involved. Sometimes it gets 4 or 5 planets, but this is really 3. I'm going to call this Aries the same as the Taurus. These early planets of the zodiac, the Leo planets are very strong. Saturn and Pluto were together in 1947. That's one way you can keep track of this. They were together in Leo. So you got the Aries Taurus, you got the Leo planets, and you got the Pisces. Now, the mistake that's made is you can be very Neptunian and you can be not quiet. You don't have to be quiet to be Neptunian. Erica's not quiet. Erica expresses herself. She gets it out. She'd have to fight back all that Leo, all that Aries to stay quiet. But she's very Neptunian. She's very peaceful. What is it to be Neptunian? Neptunian is in your heart. You're including everybody in your heart. You're seeing people as one big emotional sea. And what do you think, Erica?
I've always been very interested in people and felt comfortable with people from every background. I immediately felt interested and just wanted to connect. And very interesting. I think people are interesting on an
Well,
individual basis.
one thing that's unusual about your chart, as far as what I've seen, is that your Neptune does not suppress you more than it does. And it doesn't. And I think that's a very good showing here. That way you're showing the love side of Leo. Leo is a wonderfully loving sign. Aries is not a loving sign, but it's innocent. It doesn't want to hurt anybody. It wants to just go do its thing. But I think that your Leo stuff and your Pisces work together very well. You're outspoken, you got things to say, but you don't get all hung up and fighting about it. So I think it's
Not too often.
Well, I think you blended it
Not
pretty
too
well.
often, and usually only, you know, in a like a personal relationship, or if it's over issues. I was a debater in high school. I love debating issues.
Oh, I would not want to debate you. I was a debater in college, but I would not want to debate you. You'd be tough.
No, it would be fun. You could debate either side. That's the good part about it. When you debate, you have to take a side, and then you have to try to let your argument win.
That's right.
But
Well, I think one of the things that helps you a lot too is that Neptune brings out that innocence of that Aries Taurus of yours. That's one of the really good things about the early planets. They're very innocent. They're not far enough down the zodiac yet to call what's the word that she used in her book? Guileless.
although I do have a lot
John,
of,
what were you telling me about the seventh mansion of whose book?
Teresa
Teresa of Avila.
yeah.
She was talking about being, Lord, let me be guileless. That's where I saw that in that book.
I'm not guileless. I have a lot of strategic planning in my head.
What I meant by guileless is you're not insidious. You're not insidious. You're not planning against somebody's downfall. I think you got a very nice blend in your chart. And I think your chart is really unusual the way you can express your Neptune rather easily without the Leo getting in the way. So other people we saw tonight where the Leo got in the way with the Neptune. We should learn from your chart that you could be Leonine and Neptunian and they can blend fine.
My parents were a Pisces and an Aquarian. And my dad was in broadcasting, and he got me out in amongst people at a very young age. And my mom just kind of broke the mold. So I had great role models.
How did she break the mold?
She just, you know, she didn't want to ever get married or have kids, but she got married because the war came along. She couldn't continue in school. But she just really stood out, and she spoke up first. She'd fight with the bank.
Was she Aquarian?
Yeah, she'd point out everybody's mistakes all the time, and she'd always be right. And she'd
but they do it in a charming way, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she was born in 1924, so she comes from that era also in Poland.
And Eris had just come into Aries, 1921. Okay, thank you. That's really good. Your chart's a real education. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Yep. Let's see what else we're doing here. What I'm trying to tell you is a pair of archetypes are a problem in one person's chart, but they're not in the other person's chart. So by definition, they're not a problem. And most of the time when two archetypes have friction between them, it's because you don't understand them right. And you're misinterpreting at least one of them. That's usually what's happening. That's why I like this book, because we tried really hard to be non-judgmental in explaining why the archetype's the way it is. And that was not easy to do. Let's move on. Thank you. We're going to go to Anita, who's on the telephone. Another Cancer.
Another Cancer.
Okay, now look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 planets in Cancer, but she's extremely Uranian. She's very Aquarian, and she's very Martian. I've known her a long time, and I didn't know her birth time till recently. When I saw the strong Mars, I went, aha! So this is what we're seeing here. We see the Cancer, we see the Leo, we see the Virgo, Neptune, Pisces. This is a T-square to Neptune, and the Mars is very strong. So it appears to me that we're really looking at, look at this, Eris all by herself. Look at the bucket pattern. Everything's swinging from Eris. Okay, let's talk about Eris for another moment. What is Eris like? And I know you were involved with social work. Eris is very much a social work planet. Eris is about, if it ain't fair, I'm going to fix it. If it's unjust, I'm not going to put up with it. How's that theme rattle with you?
Oh, very strong. It's really been my way of self-teaching, I suppose, is relying on that and standing what I feel is true to what I believe.
Now we got to ask ourselves now, what you just said, is that Mars rising? Is that, I got to get it backward on my screen. Is that Mars over there on the ascendant, or is that Eris at the bottom? Here's the difference. If it's Mars, is you take offense at being insulted directly. If it's Eris, you're bigger and you're broader and you're thinking on more idealistic terms for the whole planet.
My way of, as an administrator, which is how I spent most of my career, was to hire people that were smarter than me. I like to I like to bring smart people into the room, and then be the facilitator of that, and then be the facilitator of the action that takes place as a result.
Well, the Eris is the driving force, and I think the Neptune kept you cool, but it's the driving force of, I'm just not putting up with it. If it ain't right, I'm just not putting up with it. That's what Eris is telling us now.
That's a really strong part of my personality, and it actually just came out a couple of days ago, pretty aggressively. It was over the phone, but me trying to get my point across. Yeah, I take control of the situation when I feel like I'm in that position, or I completely back away and I'm fearful.
Okay, well, there we see the Mars Neptune. The Mars is I get involved. The Neptune is I back off. Well, I don't think there's much difficulty in your chart. I think at first I thought the Mars Neptune can be a problem, because one is about asserting the ego, one is about fading back into the non-ego. But I think there's enough compensating energies in your chart. When your Neptune fades too much, your Leo steps forward, your Mars steps forward. I think you get a real good balance. I would think they're saying now, the new astrologers who are adopting Eris, they're saying that they think that Eris is the ruler of Libra. Well, I don't know if I agree, because I certainly know that Libra is Venusian, but it may have partial rulership, I don't know. But I think you got a pretty darn good blend here. I would think that the difficult thing in your chart, if it were my chart, is keeping that Eris, how do I say it? Keeping the stable door open so she can go out, because you don't want her kicking the walls down. But keeping her cool that she doesn't get too much into, look what you did to me. Okay, that's the negative side. But Eris is really, really strong, and I wouldn't want to see what happens if somebody back you in the corner. I don't think it would be pleasant. I think you could be tough.
I would hope that I would be if I were, and if I were right.
Marcia's laughing. Marcia's laughing. That's a laugh. That's a laugh at those. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious. I'd be curious to know what my chart looks like today, if you wouldn't mind.
What your
for a
chart
minute.
looks like today? Yeah.
Yeah, today.
Let's take a look.
Okay.
Here's your chart.
It has been high energy, high level of anxiety, maybe, I don't know, kind of stressful, chasing time kind of a week. Although everything is falling into place, it's been a week.
Well, the thing that's been so tough, here's for everybody. Here's your birth chart. You see that now you can start to see the 3 planets in Capricorn because they're bunched together. Nothing's else with them, and they're going to stay this way for a while. This is the real oddity of right now. But Mars was back here. When Mars was back here, when it was back on this, going back here a month ago, when Mars was going over this Eris, it was very irritating. So right now you got the sun coming to the top of your charts. You got these planets are pretty quiet. That's your natal Mars. Neptune is at the bottom of the chart. Mercury is near the top. The sun is rising. When the sun rises to the top of the chart, as you can see, the sun is 9 degrees from hitting your moon. When the sun rises over your moon at the top of the chart, it's time for you to claim your place. When the sun goes over your moon, you can be challenged as your position at the head of the table. And it's time for you to defend that when the sun goes over that. Because the sun, all the time it goes over the 9th house, 10th house, 11th house, is a time of enjoying your rulership, your domain.
That makes sense. You know, as I sort of said that it was sort of stressful, but at the same time, with good results, you know, positive paths as a result of some difficult things that I had to go through.
Well, what's happening to people now collectively is very simple. I've been watching it a long time. It's Pluto. And what's happening to people who are successful, they're owning their power, they're owning their courage. And the people that aren't are the opposite. The people who are not owning their courage are the ones that are having a tough time now. I'm not talking about blabbermouths. I'm talking about really owning your courage. That's what the Pluto transit's been doing to us since '08. I think Linda would agree, because Linda and I have been watching this closely. And as Pluto is activated in her chart, she's a student of mine. She's just become stronger and stronger and tougher the last 8 years or so. So I don't see anything particularly difficult in your chart. I do want to say one thing to you, Anita, is this. You notice this clumping of your birth chart. 9 degrees, 13, 13, 22. They're clumped together. This Venus means nothing going by, but you're getting the tail end. You're getting the tail end. Right now, you're getting Pluto opposite Uranus. Exactly. But your whole class, your whole high school class is getting at it once. Pluto is opposite Uranus. So that's questioning how well you're able to be yourself. But the real thing that's going on here is Jupiter is starting to come into Capricorn, and it's going to oppose all these planets. Okay, so what's Jupiter going to do opposite your Cancerian planets? What's going to happen is you're going to start to devise bigger plans for yourself. I want to spread out, and you may get some inner conflict from that, because spreading out is not a Cancerian motion.
That's
Cancer is,
exactly what's happening.
yeah,
You're
Cancer is, I want to be safe.
spot on.
Okay, so what's happening now is the Jupiter is going to increase inside. When you start feeling this over the next couple of months, you're going to start feeling like, oh, doggone, I want to do it. Well, doggone, I think I'll go do that. And in a sense of, I'll be okay if I do it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, that sense of expanding can be with business. It can be with more education. It can be with getting house number 2 in addition to house number 1. It can be all kind of things. It can be travel. But the expansion is definitely necessary because Cancerian energy can make you feel cooped up.
Oh, it could. I could implode.
Yes.
If I don't move, if I don't do, if I don't think.
Right. Well, I think you're in pretty good shape.
Good. Thank you. It's good to hear that, Rick.
Okay. You're welcome. Now, we got about 10 minutes left. If anybody else would like to go, just raise your hand and we'll do it. If not, we'll just wrap things up. Anybody else? Okay.
Hey, Rick, it's Anita. Anita, can I just tell you a funny story?
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned Helen Keller and all of these Cancerians out there tonight. But the first movie that I saw on the big screen was Helen Keller. And the scene in the dining, I was in the front row. My oldest sister, she's 10 years older than me, sitting next to me. And I was just so enamored with the idea of being in this beautiful theater. But then this movie comes on, and the scene in the dining room where Helen is so angry because she was struggling. There was a power struggle of, like you talked about what's real. And she picked up a water pitcher and she goes to throw it. And she does throw it. I'll give you a clue. However, in the middle, as she's picking it up, this huge theater in Buffalo, I yell out, this little 5-year-old yells out, "No, no." And I was, my whole life, I've never been able to separate reality from a movie. If you put it in front of me, it's real to me.
That's Neptune. That's the Neptune midheaven.
Okay.
Yeah, I told my son so long about Jurassic Park. Oh my God, he's like 6 or 7, and he's about 6 years old. And it's the scene with the T-Rex is growling and spinning the car around, and he lets out that terrible scream. My son jumped up and told the whole theater, "I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid." Good for you. Okay, Miss Margaret's got a question. Ask to unmute. Ray, I will look at your 12th harmonic after Margaret. Yes. Margaret, you're on.
Hi, would you repeat the thing about red eye? Because I got a very red right eye only.
Okay, let's go look at your chart. Okay. Margaret. Okay. Yeah, you're getting hit. Yours is different though. Okay. I'll show you what's happening to you. You're getting hit by Neptune. Let's just do it this way. Your Neptune is 21 Virgo. I'm sorry. Your sun is 21 Virgo. Right?
Okay.
The sun is which eye?
That's what I was trying to remember. It was different for guys and girls.
Which is the sun for women?
I'm sorry.
Sun is your left eye.
Okay, sun is left.
Men, it's the moon. Left eye, sun for the women. When the sun is opposite the moon, you got to be very careful about this stuff because it's tricky. 95% of the problem with your left eye right now is impurities.
It's right eye.
It's your right eye?
Yeah.
It's your right eye. Okay. All right. Neptune will still affect it. All right. Impurities can be water. It can be allergies in the air. It can also be things you see in your family that are not pure that you don't like. You're seeing something that's not pure. And I'm going to tell you guys a story here quickly. Don't ever get up from the TV or scream to the universe, I don't want to see that again. Because your eyes are listening.
Mm.
And your eyes will say, I don't know how else to help you except to make sure I don't work. So if you ever say that to the universe, take it back right away. I didn't really mean that. The sun, the right eye for women, the right eye for women is the moon. Okay. Now, what you're so much darkness I can barely see you.
I was getting hot.
Oh, I can understand that. The main issue with you, Neptune's very powerful when it's lined up straight. When it's lined up straight, I don't care which eye it is. Neptune is, you get the doctor to look at it. The doctor finds the results, but he can't tell you what's wrong. Okay? Are you seeing something in your life that's impure and is bugging you? Or are you trying some new food that is you're allergic to now and you weren't before?
I don't know about any new allergies. I'm kind of playing medical whack-a-mole with a whole bunch of medical things that are a little odd, including the eye getting very red.
The right eye's getting red.
Yeah, it's cleared now. It's cleared.
Usually when the right eye's getting red, you got Mars or the sun opposite your sun. Okay, the last question I had, somebody on the bottom of the screen raised their hand. Oh, somebody asked in the chat message. Let's go ahead and say goodnight to our YouTubers, and thank you for joining us for Astrology Unplugged. What the hell? Thanks for joining us. See you next week.